Hello, hello. This is JJ DiGeronimo from Together We Seek Online, and today is really spectacular, not only because I have some of my favorite women on the line, but I have spent an entire weekend with Michele. I know her now. I would call her my friend, but I showed up in Mount Shasta with her, and she really, not only did I get a full body cleanse while I was there, but I really got some pure awakenings, and she was somebody I was excited to bring to all of you. So, Michele, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here. I've got that nerve-sided butterfly feeling, it's like, but I'm really happy to be sharing this conversation with you.
Oh, it's so fantastic. So, Michele does a lot of things, as you probably have seen in the bio that we put in with the write up. But today we're really going to focus on numerology because I feel like we need to start there. Numbers are such a big part of our day. So many of us have shared so many times. We see 111, 222, 777. So, how do you see numerology, Michele?
Okay, well, I love this conversation. And I think the reason that I love sharing it the most is because it's always that big surprise in my life where it's like, oh, I really am connected to the numbers in this way more than I thought, more than started birthing even a year and a half ago. And it's for the reasons that you said. We start seeing these things, these repeating patterns, and we see the numbers on the clocks and we get curious and we feel like there's something more in that, not just this synchronicity, right? And I believe now that what I know and through the studies I've been through is that the numbers have a consciousness and they do talk to us like all things have consciousnesses. We each do and life does. And more so the universe is coded in numbers. And so there's this way to uncrack the code, so to speak, and understanding what's trying to be said. We are drawn to numerology. So not everybody is going to be feeling those numbers in the same way. So some people that want to learn about them are curious for themselves, and other people want to dive into it and then teach it and learn it and move it on and move it out into the world. And that's kind of what happened to me is I just wanted to know. I felt so connected. I wanted to know more about me. I wanted to know what that meant. Everybody loves knowing more about themselves, right? Like a personality profile or anything. And so my deep curiosity led me into this discovery that I realize now looking back was one of the most profound pieces of tools of information I had moving forward while I was in the most confusing time of my life, going through an awakening and really learning what are my intuitive gifts? What does that mean? Am I woo? Am I not woo? Am I business? And like, where do I fit in all of that? And I started to be able to really just accept myself more and understand that if I could just step out and look at this, so much truth was in there. So much of my life story and my patterns and the things that happened for me to get to this place were beginning to reveal themselves very accurately through the numbers.
Wow.
Yeah, right. Like it's that moment where you're like, you can't make this stuff up. In fact, we have a joke about it. We will always keep saying that no matter how much we keep diving in. And it's one of those beautiful melding pots. I'm in a mastery program now. So really cultivating how to work with this within the business and how I want to serve people. But a year ago, I was like, okay, the one represents this, and we have all these different ways that we feel the numbers, so it's so funny to watch it grow. And really, it's just this insight into our own intuition and into living that wholeness in life. It's guideposts that shows us we're always in choice and that, hey, we're at will. And if we're willing to lean in to that higher side and connect ourselves, mind, body, spirit, there's always a choice that leads us higher. So it's not predicting our life. It's giving us a pathway to what we're desiring most. Does that make sense?
Yes, I love numerology as a guidepost. I love that. So, can you use numerology in all aspects of your life?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. The more specificity that we can have in our questions, the more clear insight we can gain because it activates our own awareness within, right? No one's telling you this is how this should be. It's like, oh, I'm feeling that. And if I just allow myself to feel that a little more, I can lean into the side of that decision making or that choice making that might feel a little more scary and unfamiliar, but following the breadcrumbs that it's the right place to step for me. Does that
And
make
when,
sense?
yes. And when we were together, you were using a deck of cards for different times and different sessions. So tell me, like, how did it find you? Because I feel like sometimes we see numbers, we see energies, we see colors. Like, how did you really, when you were in the moment of some of this discovery, why do you feel like numerology picked you? Like, how do you feel that came about for you?
Well, and that's fun. That's a fun. This is the second time I've answered this question today, so it's fun for me to see how it rolls out. Um, Before I really dove into numerology, I just felt that pull, that curiosity. I was mentioned, but I felt it like I was afraid, like, am I supposed to dive into this? Like, do I have permission to lean in? And what does it mean? And have I been told this is good? Is this bad? Is this of God? Is this of something else? And so I had all these questions kind of going through based off of, old beliefs or things maybe I was told as a kid. And so I had this kind of push me, pull me towards, I really like it though. And I want to kind of go over here, and not knowing if it was okay, because I was also in this place in my life where I was really understanding that to be me, to be in my fullest expression, to serve the clients I'm here to serve, I needed to show up in acceptance of those new places, and acceptance that I was intuitive, that we all are, that we all have these gifts that we can open up. And it's about accepting ourselves in them, even if we don't see ourselves there yet. And so I was already in this kind of tug of war with my own resistance of it, but I kept moving in anyway. So the mentor that I had hired that began to kind of just be that next step for me opened me up into language, into definition, into helping me understand why Reiki had become important, why I went through that, what does it mean, all the curiosities that started aligning the energy work and aligning the intuition and aligning this neurotransformational somatic work I had been studying and a part of for 2 years. It became so clear that it's all connected. And when I met my mentor, Joy Kingsborough, she started putting those pieces together in conversation. I wouldn't come home and tell my husband. Like, it was like, you're a channel. Do you know you can channel? Do you know that there's available to all humans, that we just have to kind of move the stress and our mind out of the way and bring it into coherence? And all of this possibility starts to unfold. And it's not that we're manifesting and waiting for things to fall in our hands, but that we are creators. And of that beautiful oneness, of that energy in life, we're unique expressions. And so my mind's like, I get it. And the resistance, right? So as this journey continues to open up, I'm like, you're the mentor for me. Let's work together. Let's show me the how in my business. And she kept bringing me back to this feeling state. And I was getting a little irritated because I just wanted to know the how. Just show me the things, do all the things, pile them on me. I'm ready to go. Anybody else? Like, I'm the multitasker of a mother. Like, I can multitask like a mother. Just bring it on. I'll do all the things. I'll burn myself out if I need to, but I'll figure this out. And in that is where I discovered the magic. Like, that's why I wanted to help women who are doing the same thing. Because when we sit and when we feel, and we feel into our own essence, we realize all this other stuff isn't us. It's what we've learned in patterning. It's what we've learned through life, through beliefs, through what we told ourselves we needed, should, or had to be, or picked up someone else's beliefs, right? And so in this world where I'm helping people unwind their beliefs, I'm living in my spirituality. So when the time finally came, she goes, okay, would you be interested in learning numerology? I was all in. And my world was just popcorning like this, going, oh my God, this is me. Oh, I'm a 6. I'm about love and harmony. It's not a weird thing. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's why I want to make sure everyone feels the harmony and the love, and that there's the other side and all the things. And I started to realize all these things I thought were so weird about me were actually okay, you know?
I
And
love
then
that.
at the time I met you, you're like, oh my God, I love all these things. And I'm like, you do? But I still felt like I wanted to show up anyway. So it was this new expression coming forth in a way that I had seen myself expressing it, gathering women, helping them through those blocks so they could at least leave knowing there was something more to discover in them, that they weren't their stress, they weren't their overwhelm, they weren't the pain and loss that they had been through. And we don't have to dismiss it, but we don't have to live there either. Does that make sense?
Yes. And I will tell you, I did not know that you were feeling that, because to me, I was like, wow, is she good at this? So
Thank you.
that's amazing. And the women that you brought together, the frequency you created was spectacular. I mean, I still talk to many of the women I met for 40, 40 hours maybe. So
Mhm.
you really do put together an amazing retreat. And I think for many women, just being seen, understood, and letting go what's no longer serving them is such a powerful way to spend a weekend.
Yeah, thank you. I've been in those retreats myself where that was the most important takeaway I had. And then that curiosity kicked in. Well, if I was to do one, what would it look like? What would it feel like? What would we include? What are the things I overlook every single day that just is part of me? Right. And so the numerology thrilled me so much. And the piece that you received at the time was a lot of the basic things, our personality codes, our strengths, our skills, our challenges, our obstacles, all based off our birthday. This beautiful ruling number that comes in and begins to be this unique expression of ourselves. Well, then here I am a year later from when we met, and those cards you spoke of, there's this whole book of life that's presented through a deck of playing cards. These weren't always just playing cards. So there's this ancient history from Egypt attached, and this huge history, this rich history for thousands of years ago in a secret system that was hidden away because it was too powerful. People didn't want you to know that you had this inner power. And it was really all the key codes to knowing you could have the peace and the wholeness that you were seeking. And so the symbolism that's in there and all the things developed down the road into oracle and tarot cards, into human design, all under the basis of this one unique system. There've been different interpretations over time. So it's really fun to go, wow, okay, this last year we dove in, and now we're learning in mastery that we actually have a spiritual chart and a life chart comprised of these cards in a specific pattern based off our birth. Well, there's actually one life chart, one spiritual chart. I have a position on that chart. And just like that Fibonacci spiral of life, we move through the cards each year. They go through. So we have the experience of being in each one of these essence, each one of the numbers, each one of the suits. And we move through clearing our karma, meeting people in life that were meant to, for a reason, a season, or a lifetime, to help us learn, for us to help them learn. And we have this flow. So the kids that you've birthed are not by accident. The people you've met are not by accident. And it becomes fascinating. Like you thought I was in aha moments before going, oh my gosh, you can't make this up. Like it really starts to become so accurate. And then what I find is that fun, isn't that a cool thing? Isn't that cool? Isn't that nice? Becomes, yeah, like you can start to really trust this, not putting it in your, like it's going to show you everything in life, but just, when you're having a day and you're coming back in and you look at your chart and you're like, oh, okay, this is that moment where a five's causing a little disruption in my day. And I have this choice to lean in and go back to an old pattern, or I can just breathe for a minute and know that everything's good. And that this will also lead me to the freedom and the adventure and the play I desire. The choice is mine. So it's like, it just narrows the time we spend ruminating and suffering. Now we couple that with self-mastery, and we couple that with neurotransformation and somatic tools and energy work. We add the tools to it to be able to choose when we use them based off what's happening.
I will say that it is incredibly interesting. And I feel like, wow. The fact,
Right.
like, where you've been and where you are now is unbelievable in 12 months, because you not only say it, you know it. Like, I feel like you really can feel where it's coming from. And that is so, so powerful. So if
Yeah. Thank you.
women, it's amazing. If women wanted to sort of say, okay, like we have a couple women here on the phone with us today, if they wanted to be like, well, how do I even get started on this? Because outside of just seeing numbers, like what should women be aware of?
Right. Well, if they're drawn to them, do you want to know more? Are you willing to dive in and see more about yourself? Right.
Mm-hmm.
So there are multiple, I'm in a community called Numerology Junkies, and I love the name of it. It's on Facebook. So like, if you're curious, join us over in that community. If you're in my community of Empowered Women Rising, we're melding the things together, and we're just showing life through that, not by saying you must follow this card today, but like, hey, the energy of the day is this. And then there's a contract. Each day has a contract. One of these represents, like today is an ace of spades. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But when you put those together, we start layering. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling this today. Huh. And this month, I feel like there's been a lot of change, a lot of ending of the cycles.
Mm-hmm.
We're in a 9, and 9 represents a lot of endings and graduations and things, leading to higher beginnings, leading to that next thing that we're meant to step into. So we'll be shedding a lot of things for ourselves, right? Thought patterns, behavior patterns, physical things in life.
And is that because the year adds up to a 9, or is the 9 right this minute, or is 9 the entire calendar year?
So we have them in days, weeks, months, years. And so a 9 is representative of this particular month of March.
I see.
So we'll feel that throughout the whole month. So I don't want to get too far ahead of myself.
Yes.
So the question that you had is, how can we experience our own numbers? Well, if you take your birthday and you take all the digits of your birthday and you add them up. So for example, I'm September 9th, 1968, and I take my 9 plus my 9 plus my 1 plus my 9 plus my 6 plus my 8, you'll get a total number.
Okay. We're just going to give everybody a minute to do that. So yeah, you add up the 2 digits of your month, the 2 digits of the date, and the 4 digits.
Every digit individually. Just add them to each other. So a 1 for, like if you're a 12, you're going to be a 1 plus a 2 plus whatever the digits of your day are. Each one is individual. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. You add all the dates.
So anything together.
You could be adding up to potentially 2 for 8 numbers altogether if you don't have any zeros.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you get a total. And then when you have your total, you break that down. So mine's 42. If I add a 4 plus a 2 of that 42, I get a 6. What do you guys get?
Give me a minute. I got to add it all up here so I can make sure. I don't want to give myself the wrong number.
Right. And that's okay. You're an 8. Beautiful, Ruth.
9.
9.
Yeah, and I actually had a friend send me a calendar of my numerology, you know, and it's interesting to watch because you can feel kind of tilted, you know, and you look on the thing and it says day of caution, don't go, you know, and I'm going, I knew it.
Right. Oh, it's so fun. And I love to look at it through the lens of possibility. So I always look to the side of the empowerment. Doesn't mean the other side doesn't exist. I just choose to see, I already know where I'm at. Where do I want to go? What needs to clear in between what I want to create and where I go? Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So I'm not looking and going, oh my God, I'm scared today because of it. Like it's a feeling state. And we'll talk about that in a second. There's nothing wrong. This is just how I choose to interpret that. Right. And then I love bringing the conversation into the body. What's going on in the body that feels like there's a gap between getting to that, what I want to create.
Yeah. It really forces you to be present, it sounds like.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So really coming into knowing what our patterns are so we can navigate those and knowing when they're going to come up in the mind. The mind loves to automate things, right? So when we try to go change the thought processes, it's like, no, mayday, mayday. But we can understand that some of these are in our DNA coding. When I go with a client and take them through their full breakthrough blueprint, we look at all the aspects of your personality. We look at the challenges and obstacles, the layers of those codings and patternings that are coming up in your mental, your emotional, your physical areas. What are some of the personality codes that are coming from that? And you'll be like, oh, that makes so much sense. What's the high and the low side of those, and where are you?
Yeah. So for anyone who's listening now or later, people always ask me for coaches. Like, I think this is like coach plus energy plus quantum plus numerology. To me, my gosh. It's like really diving into what drives you, what holds you back, and where you have the potential of going.
So you see you, not so I tell you how to do it. Mm-hmm. So you get to answer the questions that are burning inside you that you don't know that have to put the answers and the words together yet. And then they just start coming together. Right.
I love that.
So when you have, 22, you can add together.
That's
is that
4.
Your total that you got? I'm looking at
yep.
Caitlin, then you would just add it together. You're 4.
So we have 3 4s, a 5, and a 6 so far.
I love that. So let's just talk really quickly about those numbers. I'll give you a little insight. So a 6, you're first because you're like me. Just kidding. You have love and harmony is the high side of the 6. Things are going to want to be seen through love, felt through love, and harmonized. More so than even balanced, right? We can kind of drive ourselves crazy looking for balance in life. But when we understand the harmony, we must know what we want. And so many of us are always ruminating what we don't want. The other side of the 6 is very karmic in nature. And that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means there's going to always seem like you're going through a lot of lessons in life. But then you know that they're lessons. So then you wanted to share with people what you've learned. Mm-hmm. And so then it makes sense that I'm doing what I'm doing. But you're also going to see beauty in everything. There's going to be like transformation in everything. So you're going to love things like decorating your home or the essence of family, or really having the beauty in things expressed, you know, creativity, maybe your artistry, maybe you like to write or dance, or all these kind of expressions will be true for you. And then you have your 4s who are very foundational in nature. You're going to want to build things. Give me a plan, give me a system. I want to strategize it. I want to create a strong foundation. I want to have the safety and security taken care of. And it's going to be the essence of what you do in life. And there's, there's tons of more things, of course, with these things. But then with the 5, if you're bound in a box or sitting at a desk all day, may feel like drudgery to you. Like you want to be out exploring, having freedom, playing, finding ways to be adventurous, right? It will always bring up change, but if you're in your truest essence, that's going to be speaking to you the most in what you do. So let me know in the comments if it's making sense for you. And the 7s aren't afraid to leap. Well, there's 2 sides of it, right? The 7s are that lucky 7 feeling, like you really want to take that leap, brave action, moving forward towards those goals, feeling unstoppable. And the low side may be you're overthinking it and really afraid in your mind to move towards that. So there's the balance of the 2, the yin and the yang, so to speak, right? And we're all a melding pot of all of it, depending on how many years we've been living, depending on what we know about ourselves. But as you see your full report, you're able to understand where you've been, where you are, and the potential where you can go. So it's like this snapshot of you for you in all aspects, in relationship, in your money, in your career, in your health. So that's why we say, what is your question? What do you want to know? Let's find the actual contract that can reveal these patterns to you through the essence of your mind, your mindset, or your emotional intelligence, or emotional, the way you feel these things in your body, if you do or if you don't, and then where it is in your physicality. So it's really fascinating.
Nice. That's nice. How about a 9? How about a 9
okay,
for Ruth?
9s really want to bring innovation to the world. They really want to lead the way of the revolution, right? Like, please follow me. I've been through a lot of stuff. And before I knew I wanted to share this, I felt like a lot of stuff was hitting me hard. So that until you learn that it's working for you, it's going to feel like it's against you, right? But they're actually cultivating what you're needing for that leadership moving ahead to birth those ideas forward. The 9 is the completion of the cycle, but right into what's next. You're always going to be on the leading edge of what you want to birth next into the world. Is that making sense?
Amazing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So these are mini snippets, right? And so what I'm going to have for you guys is a document that you can go in, calculate again, I call it your empowerment code. It's unlocking your empowerment code, and it's little snippets of each of these numbers. So you can get just a mini taste of it, or you guys can talk with me and have a free mini blueprint where you can come in and get a little bit more of that rounded picture. And then you can decide from there, do you want to dive deeper? And then your full breakthrough blueprint, we're really going deep into all of the specifics of the contracts, answering questions and helping you move through where you're stuck so you can get that taste. Does that make sense?
That's super helpful. That's super helpful. So I know you're in transition, but you're going to get us the link when we put the recording up next week. We'll have the links. You can do it for yourself, your friends, your kids, and you can at least get the basis of what's happening in your household, or even your coworkers, your business partners, of where it's starting. And if you want to get the next level, I know Michele has, she does live videos all the time. She's so fantastic. And this is honestly just a snippet of her expertise. But I really did have to start somewhere. And I guess just in closing, what you've talked a little bit about it, but for women listening that are like, well, I don't know if this is for me or not, at the simplest level, like even if they just learned a little bit about numerology, how do you think it could help them at work or in their business?
Right. Thank you. Yeah, I really feel there's a lot of personality tests out there, but I really have this experience with numerology of it being one of the most accurate depictions of our personality. So you can learn when you're wanting to make a change or where you are now, what's really aligning with you, because you begin to understand yourself in a way where you feel really seen, really heard, really understood. And that's something in life we're not always connecting with. Right back to where it seems like my best friend knows me more than I know myself. Why can't I see this? Right. It gives you that picture of, oh my God, yeah, that's me. And then that can lead you into, okay, what do I want? And where's the gap that I feel is keeping me from that? Because that begins the journey, right? It's about creating the life you want. You are unlimited beings. You're able to look through the lens of possibility and potentiality. And we're taught otherwise. We learn lack and scarcity. And both sides of those bring us to the glory of who we are. We need all of it. We don't dismiss the low side to get to the high side. But when we can really see where we have a pathway towards the peace we want, towards the money we want, towards the relationships we want, and we can come back in this beautiful divine timing cycle, which I know we'll talk again later, of where we are in life with that, we can see where we need to go next, one small step at a time, instead of overwhelming ourselves with all the things and then ruminating in the loop of, I'm never getting out of this. Right?
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, this is fantastic. I know you are going to put some stuff upline just because your name's, we want to make sure we have your Instagram link, but I know you do a ton on Facebook. So make sure you just put that in your profile. So when we link you, people can find you easily. I want to just thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me here. I really look forward to connecting with you guys. Even if it's in community, come join me there. Come play with the cards. Come get free readings. Dive into Numerology Junkies. We do lots of readings all days of the weeks, and I have Monday all day to talk about body breakthrough readings. So you can just feed that curiosity that much more to see if it's something for you or not.